Welcome in. I am Sam Mendelsohn, joined to you of Shawn on my right and Sam Cucuzzella and Tyler Smith on my left. So today we're going to talk about the biggest what-ifs in all professional sports. So Shawn, let's get started.
For my segment, I got what if Derrick Rose didn't get hurt? So like we all know, look at the accolades. Like he was the youngest to win MVP, 3-time All-Star, All-NBA first team, and the list goes on. Like he was a dog. He was a menace. And like look at it. I feel like if he didn't get hurt, he would have at least, and this is a big if, he had at least had one championship on his belt. I'm not going to sit here like our colleague Tony Dean be a delusional pothead and be like, oh, he would have won 5 to 10 championship. No, I'm a normal person. But I will say though, like I said, I at least would have had one championship on his belt, and I do think throughout the end of his career, he would have at least been a top 5 point guard of all time.
I mean, I have to agree with that top 5 point guard take. I mean, I know we were arguing before. Somebody was saying, I'm not going to shout out names, Tony Dean, saying Steve Nash would be top 5 over him, but I'm going to have to agree with that. So I'm going to go to the NFL. So a lot of people, like the biggest what if in the NFL is like, what if Drew Bledsoe never got hurt? But that's not what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about what if in 2006, Drew Brees passed his physical and signed with the Miami Dolphins instead of the New Orleans Saints. I mean, this has a crippling effect on both the NFL and, more importantly, college football. So those of you who don't know, in 2005, in the season finale on New Year's Eve, Drew Brees took a dirty shot from John Lynch and tore his Abram. So that offseason, the number 1 free agent quarterback was going with a big question mark, his shoulder. He wanted to sign with the Dolphins. Everything was worked out, the contract, but he didn't pass the physical, so it never happened. And they ended up trading a 2nd-round pick for Dante Culpepper, pairing up Culpepper and Nick Saban, which turned out to be a massive failure. It also led Sean Payton to get Drew Brees, but like, what if that never happened? What if you paired that defense and Drew Brees? I mean, what happens to Alabama? Nick Saban never goes there. Alabama never becomes a dynasty. And also another question, what happens with Sean Payton? I mean, does he get fired by the Saints and ultimately become the head coach for the Cowboys? And you pair him and Tony Romo. I mean, they would have beat that Giants team, if I agree. If Sean Payton was coach in 2008, they would have beat that Giants team in the divisional round. And then you might have the Giants versus the Patriots in the Super Bowl. And who wins that Super Bowl? So right now, Jerry Jones could be sitting with another Super Bowl. Alabama dynasty might never exist, and Tom Brady might not have 2/3 of the rings he has. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting sort of take. So for the MLB, there are a lot of what-ifs you can do. A lot of them sort of revolve around personnel decisions or injuries. I don't think they're as impactful just because baseball, obviously, one person can't win a ring. Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, Angels. But I chose to do what if Babe Ruth was never traded to the New York Yankees. So Babe Ruth was a Boston Red Sox, and he was a damn good Boston Red Sox. And the Red Sox owner, Harry Frazee, wanted a fun to play. So he traded Babe Ruth, bona fide superstar, to the New York Yankees in exchange for $100,000, which, adjusted for inflation, is only $1.6 million. By comparison, for the modern day Yankees, that's $1 million less than they're paying Luke Weaver.
Shout out Professor Lynch.
He taught us that. Anyway, when it comes to the what if there, for the Red Sox, do they win a ring? Does the curse of Bambino still go in effect? Do they have to wait 86 years? Do they win a couple more? For the Yankees, I still think they'd be successful being a team in New York. They had Lou Gehrig, they had Waite Hoyt, Miller Huggins, plenty of other stars. But you have to wonder, does having Babe Ruth not on your team affect your legacy at all? Does it make it harder for them to attract superstars? Does it make their runs in the 20s less regarded? And does that affect the careers of guys like Gehrig, Joe McCarthy, any others? And it just truly makes you wonder, what does the league look like? And do the Yankees brag now about like only 20 or 21 rings versus 27?
Yeah, personally, from a Mets fan, I'd love to see the Yankees have a little less rings.
From an Orioles fan as well.
Moving on to some hockey, I'm going to take us back to the 1999 season, specifically the Stanley Cup playoffs, more specifically the Stanley Cup Finals. Game 6, triple overtime. Now, these players are out here dying. It's triple overtime. I mean, these guys are on their last legs, but this is what you dream of as a kid, right? You dream of scoring that game-winning goal. So for that dream, that came true for Brett Hall. Now, for Dallas fans, this is amazing. You've won the Stanley Cup. This is all you could dream for. For Buffalo fans, you're probably screaming your head off, smashing your TV, because as you can see, Brett Hull's foot was in the crease. So the precedent at this time was really if anyone ever scores with their foot in the crease, it's not going to count for a good goal. Now, in this, the refs viewed this as a good goal because Brett Hull shot the puck, got the puck back, and therefore maintained possession. The exception to this rule within the foot in the crease is that if you still have possession of the puck, the goal is still going to count. So obviously this has been heavily debated. For those of you at home, you can look this up on YouTube, Reddit. There's dozens, if not hundreds of blogs about Dallas fans debating this, Buffalo Sabres fans debating this, and all fans in between. This really accounted for a lot of ripples in the NHL as a whole. The league actually disbanded the foot in the rule, the foot in the crease rule entirely, and nowadays you can have your foot in the crease as long as you don't interfere with the goaltender. So obviously the Stanley Cup Finals really shifted the layout. Obviously all of these what-ifs can really shift the layout of our leagues. But I'm going to kick it over to Sam just to
So we just want to say, Anthony and Olivia, we hope you guys get better soon. We miss you, and we will see you.